Welcome to the Becoming Baby Ready podcast, your podcast for queer family planning. My name is Sam, and throughout this podcast, you'll hear me have conversations with professionals who work alongside people who want to start and grow their families, as well as parents of intentionally created families. Everyone I speak to identifies as being part of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. This is your opportunity to learn answers to questions you didn't even know you had. You are going to love this conversation that I have with Keeley Shantz. I loved speaking with them. They are a registered massage therapist in the province of Ontario, just east of Toronto. And we talk not only about the role of massage therapy, but we also talk about the importance of care providers being very aware of their language, of their approach, of the kind of space that they create for members of the queer community so that everyone feels comfortable. That's something that they are committed to, and it is something you will absolutely hear in their voice. Welcome. I am really excited today to be chatting with Keeley, and I'm going to let Keeley introduce himself and explain what it is that they do. So welcome, Keeley.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here, very excited. So my name is Keeley. My pronouns are they, them. I have been an RMT since 2018, so registered massage therapist. I am based now in Ajax, Ontario. So I founded my business, Helping Hands Mobile Massage, to provide in-home massage therapy to all ages and genders. I see families, amateur to professional athletes, the elderly, individuals with various disabilities, even patients with terminal illness, as well as grieving souls and home bodies. Basically, anyone who could benefit from a massage at home, I will see. So I have to have a lot of knowledge over a lot of bases. So in that vein, I've completed training in 2S LGBTQIA+ healthcare, a lot of which has been self-taught. And I've even made courses. I'm in the process of making a 5th level. So I've got 5 courses, or will be 5, because I've realized that there are no easy ways to access education about the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. So I've made courses for RMTs. I have made courses for just the general public. So far, I've only presented them to RMTs. But what else? So I've done some work into mental health and trauma, work into concussions, I've learned about pregnancy, manual lymphatic drainage, therapeutic and rehabilitative breast and chest massage for mastectomies and cancer and top surgeries. I've done studying into oncology and palliative care. I'm also a trained end-of-life doula. I do not practice as one, but this gives me really helpful insight working with my palliative care clients. And then also my passion for educating fellow massage therapists really exploded when I taught at I supervised a student clinic at a massage therapy college in Toronto over COVID, when the traffic wasn't so bad, so I could get down to the school really easily. And teaching at massage college is really something I want to get back into. Now it's a little bit more accessible living in Ajax. Before I was in Stouffville, and that was a really long drive into the city, but now I have access to the 401 really easily. So, I guess I've been an RMT for 6 years, and that is kind of the cutoff for an RMT's career. It usually only lasts between like 2 and 5 years. But in the scope of having a career, 6 years, I'm just a baby. So I'm hoping to keep learning and, I'm a terrible public speaker. I get so nervous. So having these, voice calls, these Zoom calls really helps me flex those muscles and get more confident. So I'm hoping to be able to do this for a long, long time and benefit a lot of people. But it is still, every day is a learning opportunity. So I don't claim to know it all, but what I do know, I know pretty well.
There. You brought up a couple of things, and now my brain is racing in a couple of different directions. Um, when you were talking about creating course content about the 2S LGBTQIA plus community for RMTs, you didn't say, should I assume that the course content is not directed for those who already identify as being queer, but for all RMTs, regardless of how they identify, so that they are comfortable working with the queer community? Is that the foundation of those classes? Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So the education courses for RMTs uh, assumes that, an RMT might know nothing about. So we break down what is sexual orientation, what is gender orientation, what do those look like? What are the definitions of the different identities? What are their flags? We break down, homophobia and internalized homophobia, transphobia, internalized transphobia. So that is the basis of level one. Level two goes into more specific, more niche sexual and gender orientations. So, what is gender fluid? We already know what trans and non binary are, but what is gender fluid? What is a demi boy or a demi girl? Um, so, we go into more specifics. And I like that course not because it teaches an RMT how to treat somebody who identifies as this, but it just normalizes that there are so many different identities that people can identify with. And a lot of people actually are kind of mind blown that there are so many ways to describe gender because so many like cishet people uh, never reflect on I was assigned female at birth and I was raised as a female. I was raised as a woman, and I have these ideologies of what it is to be a woman, and they never reflect, is that who I am? Is that truly how I feel? Do I agree with this? Um, and so sometimes practitioners even go, wow, I kind of feel like that. I kind of feel like gray gender or metagender. And they kind of, I don't want to send anyone into an existential crisis, but I like that effect of breaking down what we've been told to believe and expanding beyond that. And then level three, we get into level three. I had to split up into 3 and 4 because it was about 3 hours long, and that is just too long for one person to speak. So, level three, we talk about gender affirming gear, gender affirming HRT, so hormone replacement therapy, as well as what was the third thing? Hormones, gear, and then level 4 is surgeries. So, trans feminine surgeries, trans masculine surgeries. And then level 5, what I'm developing. And it's actually been very difficult to develop because it is so triggering, is talking about phobias, common beliefs and myths that are untrue, and really getting people to think about kind of think before you speak, have a filter, and common things that, especially transgender people here that are hurtful, microaggressions, that kind of thing. So I'm really taking my time putting that together and going to put a lot of mental health breaks and checkups in there because it's a really heavy course, but I'm hoping to be able to put some positive spins on it and empower people to know that, trans athletes belong in sports, transgender people belong in the bathroom that they identify with, and how to make those spaces safe. So, I've spoken so much, I forgot your question, but oh, your question was, are they for RMTs or are they for queer people? So I do believe that a queer person, maybe a baby queer, would get benefit, but I think more so their family members, their parents, their friends, siblings, uh, because we queer people have done so much research into what makes us us. And so we're our experts on self, but I think it's other people having to catch up and do that work. And so I want to make it really easy for people to access information in a fun, simple, interactive way.
And to that end, you kind of answered what would normally be my next question, which is what makes you more skilled or better prepared to work with the queer community in the capacity that you work. And that is really presumably understanding the community and being respectful of all of the ways that members of our community can present themselves and do present themselves on a daily basis or an hourly basis, depending on how they're feeling in that hour, right?
Yeah. I think I'm extremely like introspective, maybe to a fault. Sometimes I go a little bit spirally, but I think too I'm extremely open-minded and accepting, um, and I definitely have a soft spot for like fellow queer peeps. So I desire to bring these services to them so that they can, even a simple thing like just having a massage for an hour, but in the presence of someone who understands and accepts and celebrates you, I think is an empowering thing. And I've experienced this too. I just had top surgery exactly 6 weeks ago today, and I was setting up my care because I'm a self-care advocate freak. And I said, I want a physiotherapist and a chiropractor who are knowledgeable and accepting and preferably queer themselves. And I was able to find that on Rainbow Health Ontario.ca, I think. So that's kind of my go-to for finding queer practitioners. And my reasoning was I'm having a double mastectomy, but this is a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
This is an active celebration and finding my true self. I don't need somebody asking, well, I don't need somebody pitying me or feeling sorry or internalizing, oh my gosh, I think Keeley might be really upset because they've lost a piece of themselves. Um, and so, yeah, and just people are able to show up in a different way when they're on the same page.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. And anytime we're going through a monumental life transition, whether it is having top surgery so you are able to more physically present the way that feels authentic to who you are, or whether they're transitioning into becoming parents by way of utilizing their own body to grow another human being. And so I guess that leads me to my next question. In what way would registered massage therapy be advantageous and beneficial for someone who is embarking upon that journey for themselves?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And as we know, the pregnancy and birth journey not only looks so different for so many people, um, but for each individual person and their hopes and journey and struggles look differently. So, as we know, there are many different ways of conceiving. And so I've seen quite a few people who have been on the IVF journey or I think it's is IUI.
Mhm.
Is that the acronym? Okay.
Yep.
So that journey, with the hormones and the shots and the blood work and I've heard from a lot of people, a lot of these patients that their doctors are so calloused and so, their bedside manner is just objective and cold. And they say, like, I'm so glad that I feel like I can be able to talk to you and I can share my feel. We have an hour to an hour and a half together. They can share their feelings, they can share their journey and their struggles. So then not only is there time, but there's also that, holy crap, Keeley's empathetic. And so even though I haven't gone through the journey of like hormonal therapy, IVF, I am a person who is extremely sensitive to hormonal changes, and I have PMDD, so the worst version of PMS, which both suck. But so I'm very sensitive to hormones. I have had hormone replacement therapy for uh, both feminine and masculinizing, um, uh, just for different health reasons, not even for gender affirming care. Uh, and the feminizing one, being on the progesterone, was a ride. And so I do have some lived experience that helps me to empathize with these patients. And another thing is uh, each individual's interpretation of their journey and their experiences. Some people are really super stressed about becoming pregnant, or being pregnant or giving birth and parenting. Some people are a little bit more relaxed. They find joy in it. Um, and massage therapy, just especially massage therapy in your home environment, I just am able to show up and hold space. And even the act itself of mobile massage therapy is the message is, we accept you as you are. We accept your house in whatever state it is. We accept you in whatever state you are. You don't have to be dressed and showered. You know, you don't have to, don't clean the house spotless for me. Um, so yeah, people are just able to, I hope, exhale and feel heard. So yeah.
Hold on for just a moment. We'll be right back. It's Sam from babyREADY. If you have been listening to this podcast, then you know that the focus is to help you find answers to questions you didn't even know you had. And now you get to do it in person. On Saturday, June 8th at the 519 in Toronto on Church Street, I am hosting an in-person event where you get to come and listen to different people speak about the work that they do to help members of the queer community start or grow their families through parenthood. For more information, visit my website, www.babyready.info. Are there any pearls of wisdom that your clients would glean from you that they wouldn't necessarily glean from another RMT of equal caliber necessarily, but just without your own lived experience?
That's a good question. I think especially, I think particularly queer parents, there would be that level of understanding and connection, and that understanding of, we may have similar anxieties about parenthood because um, of our marginality. Is that a word? Being marginalized.
Right.
Um, and we're not represented as mainstream in the media, and parenting groups are marketed towards moms, and there's still that. I believe it's getting better, but like even the sexism in that, the father should go to work and support the mother who stays at home and raises the baby. And we know that as queer people, gender roles might not be very as clean cut as society would like to make us believe. Um, and so, I'm in a non-binary relationship with my fiance, and what do I want to say about that? So I understand that, these gender roles and how we're showing up as parents, and um, we want to be, I don't want to be called mom or dad. I'd like to be called pear, which is short for parent, but spelled like the fruit, which I'm just jazzed about. I think it's super cute. Um, but I'm worried that, I won't have that support from other parents, because parenting groups are so set up to be mom centric. And, there's not even dads aren't really even included in this parenting population. So um what pearls of wisdom can I give? I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but I definitely think about it very often because, that's hopefully, within our journey within the next 2, 3 years. Um, uh, and also being a young person, I'm in my 20s, and the economy is not looking too hot for us millennials slash Gen Zers. Um, and so there's even, the anxieties of money and finances, and how can I afford a family, and how can I afford to raise, keep us stable. Um, so I don't have any words of advice per se. Um, just take care of yourself and be soft with yourself and empathetic. And these are words that I need to take myself. These are words of advice that I really struggle with. And but it's something that I have to remind myself to take care of myself. Go to therapy, invest in my friendships, take time off, don't be a workaholic. Nurture those relationships, to have that strong community and reach out when you need help. So,
Mhm. Mhm. And I think that that's a big piece of it. Know that you need help, recognizing you need help, and don't be afraid to ask for it.
yeah.
That's a big piece of it for sure. Have there been times throughout your professional career and working in the capacity that you do, that you've been made to feel that you were the other and therefore marginalized or treated as less than you deserve to be treated?
In my professional career, I am probably pretty lucky because almost from the beginning, I've been self-employed. I did a little stint in a clinic, said this is not for me, and decided to go mobile, and that ended up taking off. Not immediately, but things take time to grow. And uh, so I don't have any colleagues that
Mhm.
dismiss me or put me down. Um, my patients don't really do that. I've only really had positive interactions if and when I do come out. So my pronouns are in my website bio, they're in my email signature. So they're not secret, but I don't introduce myself as, "Hi, I'm Keeley, I'm non-binary." Um,
Right.
but sometimes it is relevant to the conversation, especially with parents. Uh, and sometimes I feel safe or a little bit experimental, and do share this side of myself. Um, and coming back to your question, so only really have had good experiences. The only thing I'm actually self-conscious about is when a client reaches out, a new person hoping to become a client reaches out and says, "I want a female only massage." And I go, "Ooh, this is tricky. I don't
Mhm.
want to lie, but I also am not obligated to come out to anybody." And so then I have done this sort of thought experiment on what are they asking for when they want a female massage therapist?
Good
What
question.
are what are the qualities of a woman that they're looking for in order to make a therapeutic relationship happen? So the way I've thought about it is, you know, softness, empathy, um, physical safety, emotional safety are all traits given to a feminine personality, and as well as the ability to relate to health problems, reproductive health issues. And so being not only assigned female at birth, and possessing those organs, those hormones, I feel like I can relate to a woman, a cisgender woman, who is desiring a female massage. There's also the question of religion. Maybe some people they want a female only therapist because of their religious beliefs. Um, I don't know how to navigate those. I have sometimes when religion has been brought up, they say, I need a female massage therapist because of my beliefs. I have said, my sex is female and my gender is non-binary. And so I've been open and honest and let them take what they will. But for people who just say, I'd like a female therapist, you know, I respond, I am able to help you. And I also have my pronouns in the bio. So if take that as you will. If
Mhm.
you want to ignore that my gender is non-binary, do so. Um, but if you can understand that I possess these qualities and that you feel safe around me, I don't see a problem with someone accepting a non-binary person as a massage therapist. Um, so it is really hard, and especially having I have two male independent contractors, and it is really hard responding to messages saying, I want a female only, I don't want a man.
Mhm.
And it's tough to break down those gender stereotypes, which, you know, every man is unique and every man possesses his own mixture of masculinity, femininity, androgyny, and um yeah, so that's been my only challenge of feeling a little bit othered, about
Mhm.
feeling like, would this person be okay with knowing if I was non-binary, and what does it really change? You know, I'm beyond labels. I am just a person,
Mhm.
or the worry of what if one day I were to transition to male and present as male, would that close me off to work opportunities, because massage therapy is a female uh, dominated profession, because of these qualities associated with femininity. So definitely there are some worries, but I also think, um, and this is just neutral, but I also think when one day I become a parent and I am going to be the carrying parent, um, it will make me more relatable to those, to women, or to people who have given birth, to to parents, to people who are seeking a female massage therapist. And I choose to see that as neither good nor bad. I choose not to dive into what does that say about me? What does that say about society?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so that's been my journey and experiences so far.
And that's all I can ask you for is your own journey and your own experiences so far. And I'm actually really happy to hear that the instances of othering have been fairly minimal in terms
Yeah,
of your own experience. Because there are many of us who are significantly older than you are, who who were coming out younger that years ago rather. And so I really do believe that as far back as we still feel like we are right now, we have come a long way, even in the last 10 years compared to 15 years ago or 20 years ago. We have a mountain to climb still, but there is at least some work that's been done to ready the path to climb the mountain, at the very least. You've talked about hoping to start your own family path in the next couple of years. And thinking about an event like this, and I told you about the fact that I will be hosting an in-person event in June with a similar kind of message as this podcast offers. What kind of professionals or people's stories would you hope to hear to make it feel as though you were getting the information that you needed in order to make the best decisions for you and your family moving forward?
what I'm interested in learning about, like at your what's it called, baby
It's a
event?
baby event, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, looking for how do I stay strong before, during, and after, physically strong. I have a physical job, How do I keep my pelvic floor in tip-top shape? How do I keep my abdomen in tip-top shape? My low back, oh my gosh, and I already deal with these chronic problems, pain and dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
How can I build, an exercise or wellness routine that not only keeps me good, um, and functional and able to work and able to just live life, but how can I continue to actually build strength before, during, and after? So physical wellness, there's also uh, wellness internally, like making sure I'm taking all my supplements. And so, I do see a dietitian and naturopath regularly. So I've been taking supplements since I was concussed, way back when I was 17. So I've always had a regimen of making sure I'm getting my nutrients. So that's something I really value on keeping up with, um, because it affects your neurological health, your fatigue, your focus. So not only are you making sure you're healthy and getting all your vitamins, but like all these systems depend on these chemicals that you need to have readily available. So what else? Yeah, how to take care of a baby, how often are they supposed to eat? For myself and my partner, we're not going to be able to breastfeed, and so I'm actually, I mean, I'm happy about that for a few reasons, but one of them is that it gives us all a chance to bond with the baby through feeding, and I'm not the sole provider of food, which I know a lot of people struggle with mentally, emotionally, physically. It's just a big stress being um, the sole provider for your child for food. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to learn, how does formula work? We know that it's safe and effective and healthy for child development to feed formula. Um, so what other things am I looking to know? Um, so it's just those first few young years of how life changes and how the schedule changes. But then, yeah, when they're older, and I almost always forget about this. One day they're going to be a teenager. One day we're going to be able to have a conversation, and we're going to have to hold our actions accountable, and we're going to have to apologize to each other. So I'm really looking forward to learning, through psychotherapists or therapists, whatever, um, how to have that healthy parent-child relationship and how to undo those, years and decades of generational trauma. How can I stop that and start a good generational pattern? So I think and that's why I say there are so many things to, like, we're just scratching the surface of parenthood. Um, it's so overwhelming. There's so much to know, but there's always room to grow and learn. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited, and I hope that your baby event can be an annual or biannual thing. Hope it picks up traction. I'd love to support, and very excited that it's queer centric.
Thank you. Me too. I'm very excited about that. Very excited about that. I want to be able to tell everybody how to find you because
Yes.
everybody needs to know whether it's to schedule time on your massage table, whether it's time to pick your brain about questions, have you come and speak at an event or in a classroom or wherever. How do people get in touch with Keeley?
Yes. So my business is helpinghandsmobilemassage.com. I have my courses listed there. I have my services listed there. Other practitioners, if you're not in the sort of Ajax, Durham, York region area, if you want to book a service. Um, I'm available to teach over Zoom and in person, pretty much all over Ontario. I would even consider Quebec. Um, what else? So my email is keeleyshantz@gmail.com. So spelled KeeleyShantz@gmail.com. So, but I have, the contact at helpinghandsmobilemassage.com email through the website. So I have a couple of emails you can reach me at. Definitely open to just even conversations, if someone's like, hey, I just want to share my story and I just want to connect with someone who can listen or who can share a similar story, because I know a lot of people, especially neurodivergent people, find comfort in hearing similar stories. Um, so yeah, I'm I'm a pretty open book, maybe to a fault, and I love to get in touch with people and make connections. And whether I can be a service provider or just a listening ear or whatnot, I'm very open to being contacted. I have Instagram, Facebook, professional pages, so helpinghandsmobilemassage.com that you can follow along to. So yeah, DMs are open, all that good stuff.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I really appreciate it. You've offered some really, truly inspiring insight as to what we can look forward to care providers gleaning from the types of courses that you offer in the future. Thank you so much.